The Haley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on balls.co.za.
But now we move on to Wellness Wise with Steve. How's it going, Steve?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Cool. So Steve came with me to his first Sweat 1000 class the other day, and you said you did feel a twinge in your legs yesterday.
Yes, no, I did.
A little twinge, because it's called Sweat 1000, but with Steve, I don't think you shed a bead of sweat. He looked like it was the easiest thing ever.
No, it was tough going.
I always like taking guests because I always feel like, haha, they're going to suffer. And then Steve just took it in his stride. But
No,
it's good.
it was good. It was a very good class. It was awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, now you're going to talk about why we may be gaining unwanted weight.
Sure.
All the girls' ears light up. Okay, go for it. Tell us.
Yeah, so this blog was 8 reasons why you might be gaining unwanted weight. I mentioned that, my grand vision is to help people with authentic living and all of that. But generally, a lot of people just want to lose weight, a lot of my clients.
Sure.
And, I mean, statistically, I think over 50% of South Africa is overweight. People use the BMI as the indicator of whether you're overweight. That's not a very good indicator. So body fat percentage is the way to go. But we won't go into that today. But that's the way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what should your body fat be at?
It's different for
Sure.
men and women and depending on your age.
Okay.
I might put a little blog about that. But yeah, just obviously as low as possible. Not too low, but I think for a woman, roughly 20%. For a guy, good body fat would be 15%, roughly around there.
Okay, I'm going to go test it at the gym. You can do that arm test. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So anyway, very often people think that putting on weight is all to do with eating too much food and not moving, not exercising enough. The not exercising enough is partly true. The eating too much food is flawed information. So I'm going to go through some of the other reasons you might be gaining weight. So first one is eating processed food. So it's the quality of the food you eat that's more important. It's not how many calories. Processed food is essentially the convenient food that's been changed and sort of made convenient for your average consumer. So your microwave meals, essentially all those meals that have been packaged that you can quickly rustle up kind of vibe.
Okay.
They're full of preservatives, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, etc., which is non-food, so your cells aren't actually being fed nutrition.
And does your body store that non-food?
It makes the cells starve and therefore drops your metabolic rate, so that helps you put on weight.
Okay.
Yeah, so eating this kind of food will definitely lead to weight gain.
Because you don't know what's in it. You don't know
Oh,
if they're
totally.
using things like syrups
Definitely.
to preserve it.
If you read the back of the label and if there's lots of things you can't pronounce, don't eat it. That's a good rule. Yeah.
Which is 90% of the time.
Okay, so that's number one. Second one is eating too much carbohydrate. So your carbs are your obvious ones.
Carbs are the enemy.
Yeah. So it's sugar, it's bread, it's pasta, that kind of stuff, but it's also vegetables and fruit. They're also carbohydrates. So all carbohydrates break down to glucose or break down to sugar in the body. So when you eat too many carbohydrates, your body tries to deal with that by turning it into glycogen. It goes into your liver and your muscles, but can only do a certain amount of that. So the excess glucose is left in your blood. Your body then converts that to fat.
And what about the rule you can eat carbs, but it shouldn't be after 4 in the afternoon?
No, I wouldn't say there's much logical science behind that. What you want to do is balance your carbohydrates with fat and protein.
Okay.
Protein releases glucagon, which helps to lower your blood sugar. So carbohydrates elevated, and so if you can balance your macronutrient ratios, you'll get a more balanced blood sugar as well.
And so what would you say to people who, like me, have
Yeah.
a sweet tooth and just need that,
Sure.
like after a nice meal, or who crave sugar?
Sure. So very often the reason you're craving sugar is because you haven't got your macronutrient ratios right. But that we can chat about that another time. I figured that out for my clients, what your ideal macronutrient ratio is.
And what you should substitute that's
Yeah, I mean, so
sweets with.
there are better alternatives, but generally sugar cravings means that you're not eating balanced meals.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you shouldn't actually get sugar
Not
cravings.
necessarily. Obviously,
essentially.
some people, and also if you're tired, if you're out of balance, if you're not having enough energy, you'll naturally want to crave sugar for that quick sort of spike, but then it's having
Sure.
more negative long-term effects.
Okay, so processed foods, carbs, next.
Poor digestion. If our digestion's not operating properly, we don't receive all the nutrients from our food.
Sure.
Therefore, our cells are being starved. They think this is an issue, so they drop your metabolic rate as a response to not getting enough nutrition. So everything goes a lot slower, but that in turn results in weight gain.
And so how do you help your digestion?
Sure. So digestion can be negatively affected by poor nutrition at the start. Gluten intolerance. A lot of people are sensitive to gluten without knowing it.
Okay.
Drinking too much alcohol, not enough water, stress, essentially lifestyle-related factors.
Okay.
So to help your digestion, get that kind of stuff right, look at using digestive enzymes, getting good bacteria. So foods like kefir, very, very sour, but
What's kefir?
it's like almost like sour milk, but it's got kefir grains inside, so it's full of really good bacteria.
Would you have that with cereal?
No, I just drink it out the bottle straight. Yeah.
learn
No, you definitely
something
can't have it
new.
with cereal. It doesn't taste amazing. Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is lack of sleep. So, as I've mentioned in some of our previous blogs, a lot of people are undersleeping, not sleeping enough, or their quality of sleep's not enough. This studies have proven that this can decrease or increase your insulin resistance. So it can make you more resistant to insulin. Sorry, so it can affect your insulin response.
Okay.
Reason being that if we're not sleeping enough, you're getting tired, but your cells are also getting tired, and they're not functioning properly. So your fat cells aren't doing their jobs properly. And I think that's probably the logic behind the increased insulin resistance. When that increases, your chances of diabetes increase, and so does your chances of weight gain.
So sleep is just a huge factor in terms of overall
Yeah,
well-being.
it's very important. Definitely.
Okay. So that's 4.
Yeah, poor digestion. Okay, number 5. Sorry, that was 4.
Lack of sleep.
Yes, lack of sleep. Number 5, I've already mentioned poor digestion. Okay, we're on number 5 now, aren't we?
Yes.
Mismanaged stress. So stress releases cortisol in the body, and without going into too much detail, too much cortisol in the body can result in visceral fat, which is fat around your organs. So this is the most dangerous place to store fat. It's a precursor to diseases such as diabetes and heart disease. So rather than weigh yourself on a scale, what you should actually do is measure your
waist.
your stomach. Yeah. And there's a ratio for men. Women have bigger hips than men. So for men, the ratio is smaller. So for men, if your stomach is more than 1, your ratio of 1. So if it's bigger than your hips, essentially,
Okay.
then you've got apparently one of the symptoms of syndrome X, which is a precursor to diabetes.
Sure.
So you'll see a lot of guys sort of with relatively normal-looking bodies, and then it's got this massive tummy. And that's due to stress and poor lifestyle. And it's the worst place to be storing fat.
So, I mean, like we've said in the last few weeks, stress can affect your health in many ways. So it's got to be something that you sort out. If you know
definitely.
you're someone that suffers from stress, it mustn't be something you've just got to let eat
Sure.
away at you. Cool. So we're looking at the 8 reasons why you may be gaining unwanted weight. We've looked at processed food, carbs, poor digestion, lack of sleep, mismanaged stress. We'll chat the next 3 just after this song. We're doing Wellness Wise with Steve Peralta in studio. On Balls Visual Radio, we've got Steve in studio, and we're chatting the 8 reasons why you may be gaining unwanted weight. And he's told us about how processed foods have all these ingredients that we don't know about and could be slowing down our metabolism. Carbs, of course, carbs always the enemy. Mismanaged stress could be also slowing down your metabolism or making you gain weight in unwanted areas. Lack of sleep, poor digestion. What else?
Sure. Before I go into the next one, carbs isn't the enemy, it's just too many carbs without enough protein and fat. Okay, the next one, hormonal imbalance. Very often this applies more to women, but it can apply to men too. You get syndromes such as Cushing's syndrome, which is adrenal related. You get things like hypothyroidism, etc. They will often result in weight gain. So some of this kind of stuff is genetic, but a lot of it is lifestyle related. So you can decrease the effects of or even prevent it happening by following a healthier lifestyle. Women obviously deal with menopause in their sort of late 40s, early 50s. This can also result in weight gain, increased estrogen. But even within this frame, this sort of, I don't want to say something that's going to get me slapped by women, but you can improve the effects of menopause by following a healthier lifestyle. The more stressed your physiology is or your body is, the more symptoms you'll sort of experience.
From the hormone.
Yes,
imbalance.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so there's that. Then there's medication. A lot of people sort of have just accepted that medication's a part of their life. I'm not telling you to stop your medication, but very often the medication is masking underlying causes. This is masking the symptoms of underlying causes.
Okay.
And the medication itself will have knock-on effects in your physiology, which can often result in weight gain too. So, I mean, you can even read some of the contraindications, and weight gain will be on many of these.
A side effect
Yes,
to,
yeah,
to
totally.
the medication. So you need to check what you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own views on medication, but obviously we're not going to go into that. But yeah, very often it's for example, a headache's not caused by a lack of Disprin. But let's say that. Okay, cool. Okay, last one is dieting. Now, this is more women diet than men.
Sure.
And the irony is that dieting affects women more than men.
And it can sometimes make you put on weight because you're thinking about food the whole time.
Well, that, and there's actually some physiological reasons too.
Okay.
So when you do diet, when you restrict your calories to an extreme degree, which a lot of diets advocate, your body thinks you're going into starvation mode, or thinks it's famine. Okay. So what it does then, it starts to store fat for energy. Your body starts to store fat as a sort of protective response. Women also have more of a specific enzyme that stores fat more than men. So this happens more so with women.
Of course we do.
But the solution is to not diet, just eat healthy, regular balanced meals.
Sure.
So I mean that's it essentially.
So
I won't go
how
into too
long?
much
I mean,
detail,
how much do you have to starve yourself? How little do you have to eat for this, storage to kick in?
Well, if you are underfeeding yourself, just what your requirements are, we should be eating just balanced meals throughout the day, between say 3 and 5 or 6. I mean, calorie-wise, I don't really work with calories. Calories, it's just a number kind of thing. You just eat your balanced meals and have them, like I say, protein, fat, carbs. Try and always eat that at a meal. Don't just eat carbs. Don't just eat protein. You want to balance your macronutrients.
Even in the evenings?
Yes, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to hear more about Steve's wellness programs and his nutrition advice and what he can offer you, Steve, your website?
It's healcoaching.com.
Healcoaching.com.
Yeah.
So Steve can do a full assessment of you and really give you advice in all the different areas you might need it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve,
Pleasure. Thank you.
for coming in. And if you missed any of that, his blog, The 8 Reasons Why You May Be Gaining Unwanted Weight, will be on his website, Heal Coaching.
Yes, or on my Facebook.
Or on Steve Peralta's Facebook.
The Haley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on bulls.co.za.